My unfaithful wife panicked and pleaded for forgiveness, but she will have to face the consequences of her actions. Well, my wife who stepped out on me lost her cool and started pleading for me to let it slide, but she's going to have to deal with what's coming her way. I found out she was messing around behind my back about 7 months back. Man, it hit me hard, felt like my heart got ripped out, and I couldn't believe it was real for a while. The hurt just kept piling on, and she tried all those little games to pull me back in, but I was down in the dumps for a good long stretch. I never called her out on it, though. I was too tore up inside, falling apart like a cheap chair. I figure she had to know I'd caught on. She's not blind, but it didn't seem to bother her none. I reckon she just didn't give a darn, or that's how I see it anyway. About 2 or 3 months ago, I hit my limit. I was fed up with her, fed up with being married, just done with the whole dang thing. I stopped caring, plain and simple. I pulled away from everything we had together and started figuring out how to get a divorce and move on with my life. I did my best to steer clear of her. When she was around the house, I'd find any excuse to be somewhere else. Talking to her? Forget it. If she asked me something, I'd just grunt out a yes, no, maybe, or heck if I know, and leave it at that. I even tossed the divorce lawyer's bills right there on the counter where she couldn't miss them. She had to see I was done and gearing up to split. Even the kids picked up on it. They asked me what was wrong, 'cause they could tell something was off. I sat them down and gave them the old "we both love you" talk. Told them it wasn't their fault, that sometimes grown folks just can't stick it out together no more, that kind of thing. My wife was right there in the room when I said it, hearing every word. She didn't say nothing, didn't argue. I took that as her agreeing with me, quiet as she was. Then, a couple days back, I ran into this gal I knew way back in school, before I ever laid eyes on my wife. There was always something between us, like a spark you could feel in the air. We'd flirt and get a little handsy back then, but I never had the nerve to make a move. Her name's Monica, reminds me of that actress, Monica Bellucci. Her folks up and moved away before I could muster the guts to do anything about how I felt. I kicked myself for that for years, but I was just a dumb, shy kid. Truth is, I hadn't thought about Monica in forever. Hadn't seen her in ages, but when we crossed paths again, that old spark was still there, stronger than ever, and talking to her felt as easy as breathing. She flat out asked me to go out with her. I laid it all out for her, told her about my wife and how I'm soon-to-be ex, said I wasn't about to start nothing new until I was free and clear. No way was I going to turn into a cheater myself. Monica was cool with that. She handed me her number, told me to ring her up once I'd sorted out my mess. Said she'd never tied the knot herself and was real eager to catch up with me. I was even more fired up than she was. Meeting her lit a fire under me to finally face my wife and get the ball rolling on ending things for good. I came home feeling good, parked myself down, and waited for my wife to show up. I couldn't wipe the goofy grin off my face when I told her we needed to have a serious talk. I laid it out straight, said I'd known about her fooling around for a while now. Told her I figured she knew I'd caught on, especially since I'd been acting like she didn't exist for the past 3 months or so. She never acted like it bothered her that I checked out, so I said I was ready to start seeing other people and get on with living. I wrapped it up by saying, look, all things considered, we need to call it quits, don't you think? Her reaction threw me for a loop. She broke down bawling, not just tears, but this gut-wrenching wail I'd never heard before. She started rambling excuses, begging me to give her another shot, saying the affair didn't mean nothing, we could patch things up with some counseling, all that jazz. I was stunned. I thought she'd be relieved. I told her she was free to go be with that guy, no guilt holding her back. He must mean more to her than me and the kids, why else would she risk it all? She had to know it'd tear us apart. She ain't that dumb, is she? I said if she really thought our family or marriage was worth saving, she should have done something 7 months ago, before she went off with him. Now, it's way past fixing. I never thought we had issues in our marriage. She never opened up to me, and I can't read minds, so if something was eating at her, I had no way to make it right. By hooking up with that guy, she must have felt something was off, something so bad she couldn't just talk to me about it, something so messed up she was fine letting our kids grow up with a busted family. If that ain't it, then why'd she do it? I kept my cool and spelled it out clear. There's no undoing the last 7 months with him, no erasing the hurt she dumped on me, the kind of hurt that's left me cold toward her, maybe even hating her a little. I'm just keeping things polite so we can still raise our kids together down the road. I told her I don't buy that she ever really cared about me. Nobody who gives a lick about you would put you through this kind of hell or stab you in the back like she did. Her saying she loves me don't hold water when everything she's done screams the opposite. She started falling apart then, mumbling stuff I couldn't even make sense of, just a big, sloppy mess of words. Finally, I called her sister cause I wasn't about to play nursemaid. Her sister rolled in, I filled her in, and she hauled her off. When they left, it was like a weight lifted, I could breathe again, first time in 7 months. I don't even know what I'm after here. She had to see this train wreck coming, maybe she wanted it. She can't be dumb enough to think sneaking around like that wouldn't blow up into divorce and a split family. She's a looker, sharp as a tack. Things were solid between us till she started stepping out. I'd made peace with the fact that life shifts, and I'm over it now. But here she is, acting like she's still in love, like she wants us to stay a family. What's she playing at with all this drama? What's in it for her? She can't honestly think I try to patch things up now, can she? Feels like some kind of trick, but I can't pin down what it is. I've got a stack of proof she cheated. We're in a country over in Europe, and that means she ain't getting alimony or nothing if it comes out. Maybe that's her angle? Scared I'll spill the beans? Trying to tug at my heart so I keep quiet? Her guy's hitched too, so maybe she's worried I'll tip off his wife. It's eating at me, and I can't sort it out. Had to get it off my chest, thought writing it down might clear my head, but nope, I'm still just as lost as when I started. Now, here's the latest, my cheating soon-to-be ex-wife's got me all turned around. First off, I appreciate everybody chiming in, it's been a lot to take in. I put this out there 3 days after that big talk with her, and I'd barely slept a wink. Ended up crashing at my computer reading folks' replies. When I came to, I had keyboard marks mashed into my face, but my head was a little less foggy. Decided to sit down and jot out some pros and cons on the big stuff. Stuck a bunch of papers up on the wall, gave each one a title, Our Kids, How to Handle Seeing the Wife, My Marriage, Monica, Stuff to Ask My Wife, and so on. The whole thing's too long to write out again, so I'll just hit the main points. Wanted to nail down what matters most to me, what I'm aiming for, and figure out if I could actually get anywhere with it and what getting somewhere even looks like. The kids come first, no question. I'm stepping up to help them through this mess, more one-on-one counseling, some family sessions too. Planning some trips, gonna spend real time with them, make some fresh memories. I'm pulling in my side of the family to shower them with love and keep them steady. Gonna have chats with their teachers and coaches too, want their whole world to be there for them, right now, everywhere they turn. I went and got myself tested for any diseases, and I've set up DNA tests for the kids. The thought they might not be mine twists my gut, but I've got to know for their sake. If they ain't mine, could be health stuff they need to hear about someday. What if they want to track down their real dad later? How'll they look at me if I don't check this now? Hoping to God they're mine, I'll be on edge till I know for sure. Talked to their counselors alone first, then brought the kids in. We laid it all out slow and careful, let them ask whatever they wanted. Kept telling them, over and over, they can come to me anytime. I'm their dad, I love them more than life, and I'll always be there, no matter what they need, no matter when. When it comes to my marriage, I've figured out I can't ever trust my wife again. You can't build nothing solid without trust, it's like trying to put up a house with no foundation. I've also realized I don't love her no more. The woman she's turned into ain't the one I fell for. Time was, loving her was a huge part of who I was, but she smashed that to bits when she went off with that other guy. It flipped how I see her completely. Sure, maybe I could find a way to care for her again, but I'd have to want that, and truth be told, I don't. Best thing now is to call it quits and let us both get on with living. I don't want this marriage hanging around my neck, don't want what we had, don't even want her. That piece of me that used to light up thinking about her, man, it's gone dark, replaced with this heavy feeling and bad memories. Honestly, just the thought of her makes me squirm these days. Splitting up feels like the only road forward, and I want it done quick as I can manage. Now, about Monica, I've been talking with her a bunch. Some folks online gave me their 2 cents, got me wondering if diving into something new right now was smart. My life's a dang train wreck, and I didn't want to drag her into the mess. She saw it different, though. Said life's always a little sloppy, so why not figure it out side by side while we date? Turns out she never got hitched cause she was set to marry this guy once, but he passed away out of the blue in a job accident nigh on 5 years back. Knocked her flat, she said, and though she tried going out a few times after, nothing clicked. Way she sees it, life don't wait around, you got to grab a real chance when it comes along. I told her I ain't starting nothing till the divorce papers are signed. No way I'm stepping out while I'm still legally tied down. She's good with that, respects it even. We also chewed over how it might look if we just popped up as a couple for all to see. People could paint her as the one who broke us up, and I ain't letting that happen. She nodded, said we'd hold off a bit after it's final before going public. I'm pulled toward Monica something fierce. Talking to her feels too close to crossing a line in my head, so I'm keeping my distance till the legal stuff's squared away. We settled that I'd get my ducks in a row and give her a holler when I'm set, then we'd see where it goes. Getting ready to sit down with my wife, I jotted down some ideas about the kind of man I want to be. I told myself I'd try hard to be that guy I used to be before everything went south. I'd keep my cool, no matter what. I wasn't going to turn mean or nasty. The whole point of talking was to move forward with our lives and make sure we could still raise the kids together decently. Even so, I put together some questions to get inside her head. Why'd she go off with that guy, and what's she planning next? I wasn't about to play dirty or string her along like we might patch things up just to squeeze out some divorce perk. I'm set on keeping it fair, splitting everything we own right down the middle, sharing custody half and half. She's done me wrong, no doubt, but I ain't taking her as my example. I'll do what I can live with today, tomorrow, and 20 years down the line. I despise what she put me through, what she did to us and the kids, but I still hold dear those good days we had before it all fell apart, and I love the little ones we brought into this world together. Going forward, I'll try to keep her in that light, not as the cheater. I can't lug around hate forever, I've got to let it go someday so I can keep moving. Before she stepped out, I'd say our marriage was rock solid. We were close every day, spent real time together, didn't fight much, and pitched in for each other no problem. I was straight with her till I caught wind of what she was up to. Thought she was the same with me, but what she did proves I was wrong. So, Saturday rolled around, and I went to see her. Her sister had tipped me off she wasn't doing good, and she wasn't kidding. My soon-to-be ex looked like a train hit her, eyes all red, face puffed up, hair a tangled mess. She seemed shrunk down, like she'd caved in on herself. Bet she hadn't slept or ate much all week. We sat down, and she was trembling so bad it was hard to watch. Me, I felt oddly steady. I could see she was hurting, but it didn't hit me like it would have if I still loved her. It was more like watching some sad scene in a flick I was into. I felt for her, but from a distance. Guess that tells me my heart's checked out. I just sat quiet, waiting till she could pull it together enough to talk. She tried a few times but kept busting into tears. Looking at her, it didn't feel fake. I've seen her cry plenty, but never like this. Folks might put on a show with tears, but faking a week straight of sobbing deep, soul-shaking stuff with snot running everywhere? That's a tall order. When she finally got words out, it was like a floodgate opened. She said sorry every other breath. Funny thing is, she didn't try to pin it on me or make excuses. Her sister was crying too, jumping in now and then to scold her. Turns out her sister had told her this would blow up in her face, said she'd lost her own man to cheating a year ago, something I didn't know. That mess with her sister got my wife thinking hard about stepping out herself, like some kind of midlife funk. She ended up falling for this guy, couldn't shake the crush, and went for it. Never figured I'd catch on or that it'd hurt anybody, just pure selfish thinking. Said she was happy with us, but talked herself into deserving a little side action, even thought I'd back her up if I saw how much fun she was having. She reckoned it'd fizzle out, and we'd all go back to normal family life like nothing happened. Didn't have a clue I knew till I started pulling away, and that's when she wondered what was up. Found out she ditched the guy about a month and a half back. The thrill was fading. She handed me her phone to prove it. He was blocked. I undid that, and a pile of messages from the last 6 weeks came rushing in. She'd been trying to get me back into our marriage, but I wasn't having it. Right up till I sat her down, she thought we'd work it out and come out tougher than ever. But when I looked her square in the eye that day, she saw it was over. Hit her like a sack of bricks. I asked her what made her think she could do this to me and the kids. Comes down to her being all about herself. I see that now. Like a lot of you said, there ain't no good answers to find cause there ain't no good reason for what she did. Still, I got some kind of closure, odd as it was. I told her how deep she cut me, how much pain she piled on. Made her own up to breaking our marriage and leaving the kids with a split home. Gave me a weird calm feeling. She'd been digging into books on fixing a marriage after cheating, had a whole rundown and a signed confession ready for me. I didn't read it, passed it straight to my lawyer. She kept pleading for another chance, said she'd do anything. I told her I don't buy it, don't trust a word she says. She asked how to fix it. I said she's the one who broke it, if she don't know how, why should I? Asked what she'd say if she was me. We went round and round like that till she admitted she wouldn't forgive it either if the tables were turned. Told her I got tested for diseases and I'm checking the kids' DNA. She lost it for a solid 20 minutes over that, swore it was her only slip-up ever. After some back and forth, she said I've got no cause to believe her and she'd do the same in my spot. Asked if the guy's wife knew, she didn't. Said the wife ought to know. Should she tell her, or me? She asked if I'd think about working it out or counseling if she came clean. I said no, but it'd earn her a shred of respect back. She promised to tell the wife and everyone else, even go to her job's human resources and spill it all. I said I still don't believe her. She vowed she'd never be with nobody else, wouldn't stop trying to win me back, even if it took her whole life. Didn't buy it, but I let it drop, same old song by then. Offered me a deal where she'd be open to anything, let me see all her messages, be there 24/7. I said I'd talk to Monica and I'm holding off cause I won't cheat. Ain't interested in an open setup, that'd hurt Monica, and I ain't hurting folks like my wife hurt me. Don't wanna be her keeper neither, always checking up. That ain't no way to live. Told her I don't care about just physical stuff without something real behind it. If I need a quick fix, I can handle that solo, don't need her for it. By then, we were all wore out. Been at it over 5 hours, her crying non-stop from rough to downright awful. We weren't getting nowhere, it was finished. I told her plain, the love I had for her is dead. Don't even know who she is now. She killed our family, and I'm pushing through with the divorce. Said she can't undo it, only way out was not starting with that guy 7 months ago. I don't want our marriage, don't want her, don't want more hurt. Suggested we cut contact for a spell to get some space. Told her I'd already filed, mine's made up. We could do family therapy for the kids, but that's it, I don't want her in my sight otherwise. Laying that out hurt her bad. She was sobbing, muttering no, 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 please no, over and over. When I stood to go, her nose started gushing blood like a busted pipe. She reached for me, then passed out. Caught her before she hit the floor, drove her and her sister to the emergency room. Stuck around till I knew she'd pull through. Last night and today, she's been telling folks what she did. The guy's wife called me this morning, checking if it was true. Sent her some proof I had. Heard she'd booted her husband out. She wants to meet, see more evidence, been suspicious a while but had nothing solid. I said how about dinner tomorrow? She wanted to talk now, asked for a phone call, but I ain't sure I can handle that yet, told her maybe later. I'll be straight, I feel lower than dirt. Can't sleep, and my will's starting to crack. Know I got to stay tough, but it's rough. Why do I feel like I'm to blame? Why do I feel like I ought to fix this? Might kid ourselves for a bit, but it won't hold up long. Her kin and pals been ringing me, chewing me out, saying give her another shot. But I'm thinking, why stretch out the misery? Better to rip the bandage off so we can heal and start over. That's where I'm at. No big showdown, no payback, no answers, no calm, no happy end, just pain all around. My head's in a real dark spot, and I don't know what to do, honest to God.